Mike Ashcraft is the senior pastor at Port City Community Church in Wilmington. His church started holding services in a middle school auditorium in 1999. It now has a 90,000 square foot building off Cardinal Drive and broadcasts its services and facilities in Leland, New Bern, and Jacksonville. And this year the church purchased 29 acres in Leland to expand its presence there. More than 5,000 people attend their services each Sunday. Mike will speak today about how success threatens our willingness to take risks. Please join me in welcoming Mike to the stage.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm really honored to be here, to be with you. I have a 14-year-old daughter who now her favorite way to describe me is she says, "Dad, you're so intriguing." And so I, too, Chief Evangelist, have been called a lot of things, but this is the first time I've been done. So I'm really honored to be here, especially in such great company. And my topic here today is to talk to you about success. And I thought about why am I qualified to talk to a lot of successful business leaders about success, or at least in this idea. And the reason is really simple, because I talk to a lot of successful people who feel like failures. I talk to a lot of people who have amassed so much success from what the world perceives and thinks and feel like failures. And this is not unique to just people who work in business, in an industry, or academia. It's also true of those of us who work in religion. There's a reason that I've been invited here to speak to you. It's not because I'm nice or anything else. It's because somehow people have looked at what has happened and thought, okay, there's the measure of success. And the reality is the way I define success is not the way most people define success for me. And this is very important for you to understand, for all of us to understand, because most of us pursue the version of success that we've simply inherited from the culture we live in or from the expectations of others. And I talk to people all the time, I ask them, what is your definition of success? What do you deem successful? And most of the time they look at me and go, well. They don't have a definition. They've never thought about it. And so for me, when I thought about this, in my own life, the couple things you need to know about me, number one is I have a 14-year-old daughter who thinks I'm intriguing. She is a 9th grader at Coastal Christian High School. I have a 20-year-old daughter who is a sophomore at UNCW. And early on when we were starting Port City Church in 1999, I had one small child and one on the way. And I knew the stories of pastors' daughters. And so, right. And so I had two options, either stop being a pastor or do something different. And so I began to think about what does it look like for my children? What does success look like for them? And I remember thinking that really what I wanted was, I said, I want to lead a church that my children love to attend. I don't want them to be a part of a church they think took their dad away from their family or caused their family more harm than good. I wanted to lead a church that my children love to attend. So when my daughter looked at all the schools across the state and chose UNCW, one of the reasons she chose UNCW was because of the church she attends. She said, "Dad, I want to be a part of the church that I attend." And I thought, man, I'm so glad I thought about that 20 years earlier. I'm so glad I thought about that when she was 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I say the same to you because we all, and the other thing, two things you should probably know about me is number one is I love 80s music, and number two is I never wanted to be a pastor, I wanted to be an architect. That's what I wanted to be. So this is all God's fault, and so you can blame him. But the parallels, to me, are staggering when you think about what success looks like. And it is really simple. Success says there's some place, whether you're trying to build a church, and I hope you'll be able to read this in the back, I tested it earlier. There's success is some place that exists out there. It's something that you have defined, and so there's some picture that you have of what your life is supposed to look like. And we all start off sort of in this place that we'll just call here. So whether you're trying to build a business to make it look like something, or build a church, or build a family, or build an institution, whatever it is you're trying to do, there's a picture of there, and there's some progression by which you become that thing. I like to think of this as what I would call the mission. This is the thing that you do that gets you there. Mission is the thing that you do. Vision is the thing that happens when you do the thing that you set out to do. You see what happened to us? And it happened to me in multiple ways, because Port City Church, to give you a sort of a synopsis of this, I was 29 years old when we started the church. And people always ask, well, how did it start? We basically met in a living room. There were about 20 people, actually about 25 people. About 7 or 8 of them were high school kids. I was a youth minister, so I recruited some of my high school kids to help start a church. which you actually need adults with jobs to start a church. It was very difficult in the early going. And we rented Rolling Rice Middle School. I stood in the living room and I said, hey, we think that God might use us to make a difference in this city. We think that God might use us to make a difference in the city. That's what I said. I remember standing there, and I was 29 years old. I looked about 14, so I wore pants and I tried to look older all the time. And because someone would actually take me seriously. And so all of a sudden, this thing, we met at Rolling Rice Middle School. We've met at Rolling Rice Middle School. We met at First Baptist Activity Center. We met at the North Chase Business Park. We met at the YWCA, the YMCA. We've had more trailers, box trucks, minivans, SUVs. We've replaced transmissions. We've paid for parking tickets. We have done everything you can imagine to keep this ball rolling and just try to keep up with what's going on. And so somewhere along the way, we wound up buying 32 acres of property on Cardinal Drive, right off of Cardinal Drive, not too far from Wrightsville Beach in the Mayfair area. And we did all this, and I had no idea that this was a big deal because things were just going so fast. And so I remember we got the building up. We built a 90,000 square foot building. People were coming, they're calling. Things are just crazy. And all of a sudden, in 2011, excuse me, I drove up on the campus. And I thought, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? Like I realized in that moment, I drove on this campus, there's this huge building. And these are the churches that I had seen in 1999 that I thought, oh, this is there. And now all of a sudden, here I was, and I didn't know what to do. And for the first time in my life, I was completely overwhelmed. And here's the danger, two dangers. Number one is that what most people assumed was that we were successful because we were big. And all of a sudden, that's what you start thinking. Somehow you start deviating from the mission, from the things that you were doing to get you there, and you start thinking that being there is success. Because we were big, we were successful. What I realized were two things. Number one is that being big was an implication of our mission, not our mission. And you have to distinguish these two things very carefully, or else you will get sidetracked very quickly. And leading an organization is not unlike leading your life. For some of you, the implications of your success are the reason things are fouled up because you lost the mission of your life. You lost what it is that you were doing about it. Instead, you started chasing all the implications. You kept trying to do this. And the second thing that happened is the most dangerous thing that happens with success. When I walked in that parking lot that morning and felt overwhelmed, my mantra became, don't mess this up. Don't mess it up. I had attained or perceived or thought that I'd reached a level of success that now, all of a sudden, the greatest fear that I had was the very thing that I wanted to get there, and I was afraid that I would mess it up. And so what I want to really tell you, in kind of our closing time, I have no idea how much time I have left, so I'm just going to go ahead and start wrapping this up, is that don't ever mistake the implications of your mission. We sought to reach people and help them walk with God. And we thought if we did that, this will be what happens. And the second thing is that actually there was more here than it is there. Does that make sense? So, and as I thought about this over and over again, when I think about success, and I have a very crisp definition of success, and there are layers underneath it. Because this is not my definition of success. But what I think is, well, for our context here, as we move through, we think this is some kind of straight trajectory, and it's really not. It looks more like this. Doesn't it? And then you wind up and you go, oh, wow, that worked. And if there's anything that I would say to you, two things I would say to close our time. Number one is that the way you get from here to there, you got to keep an eye on the big thing, no question. I'm a dreamer. But you got to keep your eye on the big thing. But the way in which you do big things are made up of small things. And if you do the small things well, the big things will come. And I look at Report City Church. People walk in our church all the time. They look around and they go, oh my gosh, this place is huge. And they must have been brilliant. Must have had all this stuff. It was just one small step at a time. The mantra for my life is long obedience in the same direction. If you just keep heading in the same direction long enough, you'll probably eventually get there. And the second thing that I've discovered over the place is that there is not so much what you do. Whenever someone asks you what you do, you will typically respond with an identity statement. I am a pastor. I am an architect. I am a banker. I am a lawyer. And what I would say is, no, you're not. No, you're not. That's what you do. Our identity, our professions are not strong enough to bear the weight of our identity. And so as I thought about this, there became far more about who I am, the being part of me, than it is the doing part of me. And so my challenge to you is you think about how do you get from here to there. And you define your definition of success. We don't have time to do that today. It's something you've got to do the work on. What I would say is make sure that there is worth giving your life for. And maybe more importantly, make sure that there is worth actually living your life for. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this, okay?